Hello everyone, ARG back with some more franchise Hockey Manager 9, and today we have some more Hartford Whalers action in the name of franchise Hockey Manager 9, where we are trying to win the Stanley Cup for a second year in a row. We are doing fairly well despite the slew of injuries that is plaguing our team. I mean, you can look on the bottom right. Bo Berglund, 1 to 2 weeks. Paul Coffey, fractured skull, indefinite. Randy Kennyworth, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, broken neck, 2 3 months. Can play with the broken neck and fights with the broken neck. Mark Messier played with his injury, re-aggravated the injury. He's on injured reserve now. Then Anton Stashny playing with his injury as well. So, yeah, we're kind of limping towards the playoffs. We are still first in the conference. That is true now, might not be true by the end of this video. We had, I think, 7 or 9 point lead before February. We lost a bunch of games because, again, most of my players are playing with missing limbs. But yeah, that all melted away, and we now have only a 3 point lead atop the conference. So I don't know how this month is gonna go. The trade deadline is just tomorrow. I'm not planning on making any trades or anything. I kind of like my team when it's healthy, but yeah. So we are at 40, 20, and 3. That's a very good record, but again, injuries are probably gonna hamper us for the rest of the season. So we have a busy month ahead, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. We don't play for 2 more days, then we're going to have home and home against the Boston Bruins. Oh, and before I forget, happy Cinco de Mayo to, well, I would say everybody, but pretty sure that, it's pretty much an American thing. So there you have it. Alright, so Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 8 games with 2 goals against the Flames. Kent Nelson extends his point streak to 14 games with a goal against the Flyers in that same game. Alright, the owner thinks that it's successful. We need to win right now. Should be a contender next year. Fans are thrilled. No need to worry about my job. Oh, Detroit is shopping Marty Howe that I, lost on waivers very early in this series. He's on the block now, I don't really care. Now, let's see if Montreal offers me the same trade that they offered me 3 or 4 times last time that I did a video. No, it's a different trade. We are moving up in the world here. Alright, so they are offering me Mats Killstrom for Anders Carlson. Let's see here. You're a D, but you have an alpha star potential. I'm gonna complete the I'm gonna make that trade. I'm always looking for a defenseman. Now this one only has a alpha star potential, but he's very close to be able to play in the NHL in a defensive role. So I'm gonna make the trade. There you go. Big trade here yet again. I'm gonna send that guy straight up to the minors. All right. Let's see if there are other trades. Nope, no other trades on the trade deadline. Very quiet trade deadline here. Excellent passing leads. The productive night for René Rabat with the Devils. He had 4 assists against the Canucks. And those players are fitting more at home. Alright, so now is the back-to-back against the Bruins. It starts on the road, so we are in Boston. Boston is 26-34-5. That's good for 9th in the conference. We are 4-0-1 against the big bad Bruins. We're going to have Jim Martinson in net. The Bruins are going to go with Paul Harrison. And of course, go Whalers go. May the healthiest player put the puck in the net. And it is a 3-1 loss. Alright, so we lost in Boston. Our first loss of the season against the Bruins. Let's see here. We outshot Boston 39-28. Willie Plett was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Glenn Anderson was the second star with an assist. And Paul Harrison was the third star with 38 saves. So, alright, so their goaltender had a hot game there. Alright, Boston scored twice in the first period. They were up 2-0. Then nobody scored in the second. In the third, we cut the lead in half. Peter Stastny scored his 45th from Darren Veitch and Glenn Anderson, but then Boston scored again shortly after. It was 3-1, and that's how the game ended. So very uneventful game, all things considered. Bob McMillan reaches 600 points in his career. He had a goal against the Montreal Canadiens. Bob McMillan is 31 and he is a 2.5-star player. Kent Nilsson extends his point streak to 15 games with 2 goals and 3 assists in that same game. Pretty good game. Paul Reinhart has a strong game in that same game. 4 assists performance. John Anderson extends his point streak to 12 games. He had a goal against the Islanders. Mike Eves extends his point streak to 13 games in that same game. He had an assist. And Tapio Levo extends his point streak to 15 games with 2 assists still in that same game. And Ryo Ristolainen's point streak ended at 12 games. Did not get a point in the game between the Leafs and the Islanders. All right, we are about to play Boston right back. This time at home, we are now 4-1-1 against the Bruins. Petty Lindbergh is going to be in net for the Bruins this time. Steve Weeks in net for us. And of course, go Whalers, go. Let's bounce back here with a W. And it's a 6-3 victory on home ice in front of our fans. We were outshot 34-29 in that one. Marian Stastny was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Rob Ramage was the second star with 2 goals and an assist. And Peter Stastny was the third star with 2 assists. 10,512 people were in attendance for this game. Rob Ramage opened up the scoring in the first from Peter Stastny, then Dave Poulin from Brettel and Anton Stastny, 2-0 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Marian Stastny and Jonas Bergquist. That's Jonas Bergquist's first NHL point. Then the Bruins scored, made it 3-1, but then we scored again. Marian Stastny scored his 10th from Jonas Bergquist and Greg Teberge, 4-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Matty Agman scored from Peter Stastny and Rob Ramage. Then Rob Ramage from Marian Stastny and Dave Poulin made it 6-1. Boston had a little bit of a regain of life here. They kind of woke up, scored twice, but it was too late. And we won 6-3. I don't know why I struggled with that. Oh, and now Wilf Payment is hurt. I haven't heard from him in a while. He must be declining now that I gave him the big fat contract. Alright. Oh, another playable injury. I'm going to play that mother fudge stickler to death. Alright. Hyperextended ankle. Oh, it's 1 to 2 weeks. Oh yeah, you're playing with it. I mean, Randy Cunninworth is playing with a broken neck, so what's your excuse? You're playing. Hey, Kel. Up to nothing. I love it. I mean, your Panthers are up to nothing. Alright, so we are starting to be a injured team here. Maybe we should Maybe we should change the team name to the Wheelchairers or something. Alright, John Anderson extends his point streak to 13 games. He had a goal against the Blackhawks. Ted Pulivo's point streak ended at 15 games in that same game, didn't get a point. And Terry Ruskowski in that same game extended his goal streak to 5 games with a goal. How are you doing in your new house? Tell me about it. Alright, we have a couple of days off and then we're going to have a back-to-back against Washington and Montreal. Jim Corn is back from suspension with the Red Wings. And prolific passing night for Robert Picard with Washington. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Then we have another day off. Alright, Los Angeles, Stan Schmill is injured. He's out of action for 4 months. Mike Eves extends his point streak to 14 games. He had an assist against the Flyers. And Kent Nilsson extends his point streak to 16 games with a goal and an assist against the Quebec Nordiques. Just good, nothing special to talk about. Is it a good neighborhood, or do you feel like you might get shanked with in the back when you're trying to get inside your house? All right, we are in Washington to play against the Capitals. All right, that's good. That's good. So when is college ending for you, or is the semester already over? Shouldn't be, I think. Oh, my neighborhood, we're okay where we're at, but a few blocks away from me, I probably wouldn't go out at night. Alright, so we are in Washington to play the Capitals. Capitals are 32-34-2. That's good for 6th in the conference. We are 2-0 against the Caps this season. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can beat them. Oh, that's nice. Wow, college sure ends early where you're at. Well, I guess... No, I guess my sister in Canada is also ended her semester last Friday, now that I think about it. Oh, yeah, I think you had mentioned that. Right, we're going to have Jim Martinson in net. Doug Keynes is going to be in net for the Capitals. And, of course, let's go Whalers. It's a 5-5 tie on the road, so we'll take the point. We were outshot 35-28 in that one. Gustafsson was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Gordy Roberts was the second star with 2 assists. And Witala was the third star with 2 goals. Alright, so Capitals scored twice in the first period. Then we scored twice in the second to tie the game. Russ Fitzpatrick scored from Dave Poulin and Martin Stastny. Then Brent Sutter from Gordy Roberts and Brett Hull. It was tied at 2, but then the Washington Capitals scored. Made it 3-2 Washington after 2. Washington made it 4-2, then Brett Hull scored on the power play that was unassisted, made it 4-3. Washington scored again, and then we tied the game. Darren Veitch from Peter Stastny and Gordy Roberts, and then Brett Hull from Russ Fitzpatrick and Greg Deberge. It was tied at 5. And that was that for that game. Obviously nobody scored in overtime. We have ourselves a tie. I struggle with talking today for some reason. Chicago, Tim Higgins is suspended. He's going to miss 2 games. Tim Young is suspended in Minnesota. He's going to miss 1 game. Good night for Pat Flatley with the Rangers. He had a hat trick against the North Stars. John Anderson extends his point streak to 14 games. He had a goal against the Devils. Charlie Simmer extends his goal streak to 5 games in that same game. He had a goal and 2 assists. A memorable game for Thomas Steen with the Jets. He had a hat trick against the Canucks. Alright, so very next day from Washington to Montreal, we are going to play the Abs. They are 31-30 and 7. Abs in the last video got fleeced twice in trades, both times against the Order, or with a trade with the Orders. So, yeah, they are now 31-30 and 7. That's good for 5th in the conference. We are 2 and 5 against Montreal. So, for some reason, Montreal struggles, but not against us. Oh, the old logo? It was okay. I much prefer the one that we have now, which is like kind of what it was back when the Sens first came in. Yeah, Montreal fell off. They made a lot of bad trades. That's what happens. All right, Steve Weeks in net for the Whalers. Greg Stefan in net for Montreal. Greg Stefan used to be our draft pick that I traded to Edmonton in the big trade that brought the 3 superstars to the Whalers. All right, so Steve Weeks against Greg Stefan. Come on, Hartford. And yet another loss on the road. All those injuries are starting to catch up to us. We lost 5. We lost 5-2. Dang. We were doubled in shots, 40-20 in that one. Aaron Broughton was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Mats Naslund was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Eddie Johnston was the third star with 2 assists. Yeah, Greg Stefan did get his revenge, didn't he? So we did score the first goal of the game. Gordy Roberts scored from Ryan Stastny and Brent Sutter. Then Montreal tied the game. It was tied at 1 after 1. And we had a fight between Grant Jennings and Glenn Anderson. Then in the second period, Peter Stastny scored from Darren Veitch and Gordy Roberts. Then Montreal tied the game. It was 2-2 after 2. And Montreal scored 3 unanswered goals late in the third period. They ran away with the win. It's a 5-2 loss for the Whalers. Kent Nilsson's point streak ended at 16 games. He was held scoreless against the Bruins. No. So, what's going on is my fiance is very, 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 very close to give birth, and she's been having those Sonic drinks cravings like for the last month. So we have one a day or so. Like there's a Sonic, like that's literally a 1 minute and 7 seconds drive from my house. So through the app, they're half price. So like we go every day, and it's like $3 for the both of us. So that's what happened. So, right, John Anderson's point streak ended at 14 games, so no point against the Islanders. Well, thank you. It should be any day now. It could be in 10 seconds, as much as I know. Mike Eve's point streak ended at 14 games in that same game. Didn't get a point either. And a night to remember for Denis Potvin. In that game, he had a hat trick. Alright, so we have a couple days off, and then we're going to be in Buffalo to play against the Sabres. Are there Sonics where you live? I think there are. I think I've seen some when I went to Florida a few years ago, but I'm not 100% sure. Ron Duguay is suspended. He's going to miss 4 games, and Bo Berglund should be back soon. Young Gans is back from suspension with the Rangers, back in the lineup. Same for Tim Young with the Minnesota North Stars. Daryl Sittler played in his 1000th game for the Islanders. He had an assist against the Calgary Flames. Daryl Sittler is 33 and he's a 3.5 star player. Oh, so that's where you moved. Yeah. So I'm kind of addicted to their diet cherry limeade. That's what I drink all the time. I literally never drink anything else from there. So it's not like I'm taking a whole bunch of sugar intake, right? Charlie Simmer extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal against the St. Louis Blues. Food-wise, you're not missing too much, but I do like their diet cherry limeade quite a bit. It's pretty tasty to me. I like it. Food-wise, it's just another fast food joint. Right, we are in Buffalo. They are 27-41-2. That's good for 10th in the conference. They have dropped. Like Buffalo at one point during this season were head-to-head with me for top of the conference. So they've really slid. And we are 5-1 against Buffalo this season. We're going to have Jim Martinson in net. They're going to have Glenn Resch. And, of course, go Warriors go. Let's get a win. Let's get back in the W column here. I'd like that. Nope, that's a 7-1 trouncing. We lost 7-1 in Buffalo. Oof, we're not doing too good. We were outshot 34-32 in that one. Mario Faubert was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Chico Resch was the second star with 31 saves. And Gilbert Perrault was the third star with a goal and an assist. Alright, so 2 goals for Buffalo in the first period. They were up 2-0. Then in the second, we scored our lone goal. Matty Agman from Peter Stastny and Tommy Samuelson. Then Buffalo scored 3 goals after that. It was 5-1 Buffalo after 2. Then in the third period, they added 2 more goals. That's a 7-1 trouncing. And Keith Acton fought Jay Wells. Craig Ramsey. Yeah, that's him. Craig Ramsey has arrived at 1,000 games played in his career, and that was against us, and he celebrated that with a goal and an assist. Craig Ramsey is 32, and he is a 3-star player. Ray Bourque is not suspended with the Bruins. Wayne Gretzky extends his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals and 2 assists against the Canucks. Tom Lysak has produced 500 assists in his career. He had a goal and an assist against LA. Tom Lysak is 30 and a 3.5-star player. Strong game for Doug Wilson in that same game. He had 4 assists. Great night for Ray Ferraro, who had 3 goals and an assist against the Kings. Suspension over for Tim Higgins with Chicago, back in the lineup, and Bo Berglund is close to come back. We have 1 more day off, and then we're going to be in St. Louis to play the Blues. Alright, so Bo Berglund is back. Now, can I get him back, or does he need to stay longer? No, he can come. You can come back on the team. And we are going to send Jonas Bergqvist down. Oh. So you want to start collecting the memorabilia now, so that, you know, in 10 years, like, it has sentimental value, or you want to get older stuff that you're gonna need to get, like, on eBay or something, and that's gonna cost you money. Alright, we are in St. Louis to play the Blues. Blues are 41-25-5. We are 2-0 against the Blues. We are not doing good this month. We have only 1 win so far. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for us. Mike Liut is in net for the Blues. Come on, Raiders. Turn the tide around. A good 5-0 win. Ooh, so you want yourself like a Scott Millen Bay towel or something? Right, a nice 5-0 win in St. Louis. We outshot St. Louis 44-20. Peter Stastny was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Greg Teberge was the second star with 2 assists. And Steve Thomas was the third star with an assist. Matty Agman opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 25th of the season on the power play from Bo Berglund and Peter Stastny. Then Brett Hull scored his 10th from Steve Thomas and Brent Sutter. It was 2-0 Hartford after 1. And in the second period, Dave Poulin scored from Greg Teberge and Anton Stastny. Then Glenn Anderson from Gordy Roberts and Peter Stastny. It was 4-0 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Peter Stastny scored from Greg Teberge and Ken Morrow. It was 5-0, and that's the end of the game. A big frame picture, so do you have an idea of, like, if you want a player per se, or like the picture of a moment or something? Jan Eriksson is suspended with the Devils. He's going to miss 5 games. Charlie Simmer extends his goal streak to 7 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Islanders in that same game. Memorable game for Brent Ashton playing for the Canucks. He had 3 goals and an assist against Pittsburgh. And Mark Messier is ready to return to practice. That'd be great. Now, if I could at least get him like to be healthy, Jesus, that would help. But you haven't pinpointed like which player you would like or which moment you would like yet. André Saint-Laurent is back from suspension with the Kings. Ray Ferraro extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Jets. Charlie Simmer extends his goal streak to 8 games with 2 goals against Washington. And Grant Fuhr extended his contract with the Jets, and that's a 4-year extension. Oh, okay. I see a little bit of a preference for goaltenders here. All right, Toronto is in town now. They are 32-32-8. We are 2-0 against Toronto this season. Let's win again. Rob Allen is going to be in net for Toronto. Jim Martinson in net for Hartford. Go Whalers, go. A 4-3 victory. All right. We outshot Toronto 44-26. Brett Hull was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Tom Lydla was the second star with a goal. And Dave Poulin was the third star with a goal and an assist. 10,505 people in attendance for this game. Well, you did have a pretty rough stretch, but I thought that maybe like Pavel Bure would have made it there, or something like that. All right, so 4-3 win. Toronto scored first in the first, then Randy Kennyworth scored from Bo Berglund and Dave Poulin, then Dave Poulin from Bo Berglund, 2-1 Hartford after 1. We had a fight between Randy Kennyworth and Tom Lydluck. Randy Kennyworth keeps fighting with that broken neck. That's very dangerous, just saying. The Leafs scored in the second, tied at 2. Then we had a fight between Jay Wells and Scott Fusco. Then in the third period, Darren Veitch scored his 10th from Peter Stastny and Brett Hull. Then Peter Stastny from Greg Teberge and Brett Hull. It was 4-2. Then Toronto scored 4-3. Hartford, the final score. They only had 1 in the bank. Oh, now Brent Sutter is our... Sutter is day-to-day. Okay, so we should be good. Oh, okay. Lanny McDonald has produced 400 goals in his career with his goal against us. Lanny McDonald is 31 and he is a 4-star player. A night to remember for Wayne Gretzky. He had 2 goals and 4 assists against Montreal. Rick Middleton extends his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals against the Flyers. Oh, Daryl May's contract has been bought out by the Oilers. Yeah, I actually only have one thing. Well, that would be like old stuff, right? Give me a second. Alright, it's a little dirty, but that'll do. That was a gift that was given to me, but I have this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, thank you. So yeah, those are not the best players or anything, but it's those are autograph cards of Patrick Keeves, Antoine Vermette, and Anton Volchenkov. Also, I have a bunch of old jerseys, but that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot of material things. I mean, I also have like Ottawa Senators underwear, but I'm not showing you those. But yeah, so I have a lot of jerseys. Sadly, I don't have a jersey from like the new uniforms, which I really like. I really think, and I'm not saying that because the Sens are my team. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I do think that the Sens black jersey is pretty darn good looking. Sadly, I haven't really had the money to get myself one yet, but it's on the list eventually. I plan on getting one. Alright, so we have a day off here. Alright, so we are hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins now. Pittsburgh is 22-46-4. That's good for dead last in the conference. We are 2-0 against Pittsburgh. Hopefully we can win that one. Might be a little difficult with all the injuries. Oh, that's nice. Alright, so Greg Millen is going to be in net for Pittsburgh. We have Jim Martinson in net. Go Waiters, go. Oh, a 9-2 victory. I do like hockey sweaters as well. They're very comfortable to wear. I'm just not sure. Like, you asked me when like the deal was made with... I forgot how they're called, but... yeah, I'm not sure about the quality. I mean, I guess we're going to see, right? If it's crap, people are going to complain and they might break the contract early. Alright, so a 9-2 win at home against Pittsburgh. We outshot them 57-24. Gordy Roberts was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Ray Neufeld was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Darren Veitch was the third star with an assist. 9,674 people in attendance for the game. Yeah, Fanatics, yeah. Bo Berglund opened up the scoring in the first on the power play from Glenn Anderson and Matty Agman, then Steve Thomas from Rob Ramage and Russ Fitzpatrick. It was 2-0 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, Pittsburgh scored, made it 2-1. Then Ray Neufeld scored from Wilf Payment and Gordy Roberts, made it 3-1. Then Pittsburgh made it 3-2. We had a fight between Steve Thomas and Randy Carlisle. Then it was all Whalers in the third period. We scored 6 goals. Peter Stastny from Glenn Anderson and Ken Morrow. Then Brett Hull from Russ Fitzpatrick and Marian Stastny. Then Dave Poulin from Ray Neufeld and Ken Morrow. Anton Stachny from Dave Poulin and Bo Berglund, then Matty Agman from Glenn Anderson and Gordy Roberts, and finally, Wolf Payment from Marian Stachny and Darren Veitch. And here you have your 9-2 victory. Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a wait-and-see type of situation. And Bo Berglund is hurt yet again. He's day-to-day. We're good. Rick Middleton extends his goal streak to 6 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Devils. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Al Seckard. He had 4 assists against the Devils. Red light stays on for Yari Kurri with the Red Wings. 3 goals and an assist against Minnesota. Brett Callaghan suspended. He's going to miss 7 games. Great night for Mats Naslund. He had a hat-trick against the Leafs. Great night for Eddie Beers. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Buffalo Sabres. And Bob Gainey extended his contract with Montreal. That's a 2-year extension. Look at all those injuries, man. I'm hurting just looking at it. Alright. Sutter can't play. Berglund can't play. Sutter can't. Okay, so Connie Ward is going to need to play hurt. That's okay. I mean, he fights hurt, so. Alright, Islanders are going to be in town against the Hartford Whalers. Islanders are 41-26-5. That's good for 3rd in the conference. And now the Flyers are catching up to us in points. They did play 2 more games, though. Whoa. That's a lot of questions here. All right. I only ate at Chipotle once. Personally, I like Qdoba better, so I had a tendency to go to Qdoba instead. Chick-fil-A I don't eat there because they are very expensive for the size of like the chicken sandwich. Like it fits in my hand, and I have small hands. No, you're fine. You're fine. I was just kind of joking. So Chick-fil-A, people go crazy about it. I don't get it. I really don't. Chipotle, it's just a matter that I like Qdoba better. It's nothing against Chipotle. I only ate there once, I think. All right, so Islanders in town. I was never that impressed. I will tell you that the only fast food restaurant that I can tell you that I look forward to eating at, and not just out of convenience or anything, is Culver's. I love Culver's for whatever reason. I just love me some Culver's. Alright, yeah, that's going to be a tough game against the Islanders. We are so injured. Steve Penny's going to be in net for the Islanders. Steve Weeks in net for Hartford. Come on, Whalers. Pull a rabbit out of your sleeves or something. Oh, we won 5-3. Oh, you're lucky, man. Whenever you eat there, have a thought for me. That's my favorite fast food place. Yeah, I really like Culver's. It's my fave. We outshot New York Islanders 40-35 in this 5-3 victory. Greg Deberge was the first star of the game with 2 goals. Janssen was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Glenn Anderson was the third star with a goal and an assist. 10,746 people in the stands to watch a bunch of limping bodies on the ice. Greg Deberge opened up the scoring in the first from Wolf Payment and Randy Coneyworth. Then Steve Thomas scored unassisted. Finally, Anton Stachny scored from Gordy Roberts and Russ Fitzpatrick. It was a 3-0 lead for the Whalers after 1. Then in the second period, Islanders scored. Then Glenn Anderson scored from Steve Thomas and Jay Wells. Then Islanders scored again. We scored again. Greg Teberge from Glenn Anderson and Matty Agman. And then the Islanders scored yet again. 5-3 Whalers after 2. There was a fight between Steve Thomas and Dave Lumley, and then nobody scored in the third. 5-3 is our final score today. What's your favorite fast food place? Is it Chick-fil-A? It's okay, you're allowed to like it, even though I don't. You are totally allowed your own opinions. Alright, so we have a day off, and then we're going to be playing in Calgary against the Flames. Now, if I'm eating out, one thing that I really like to eat, well, there's plenty of things. I love eating. I mean, I didn't get, the beer belly by accident, right? Yeah, that's the same for a lot of people too. That's the draw to it, is that they have a large enough menu that you can find something you're gonna like. But one thing that I really like to eat is pho. I really like pho. I love a good bowl of pho. I just... Alright, we are in Calgary to play the Flames. Flames are 29, 38, and 6. We are 0-2 against the Flames this season. Let's go ahead and try to change that. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for us. Dan Bouchard in net for the Flames. Go, Waiters, go. And we remain winless against the Flames. So the Flames completely sweep the series. It's spelled P-H-O. It's Korean soup. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it right. You have to excuse the French accent here. But yeah, it's spelled P-H-O. You can, if you don't know what it is, you can go ahead and Google it. I highly recommend that. Alright, so a 5-4 loss in Calgary. We did not win a single game against the Calgary Flames this season. We outshot them 49-39. Paul Reinhardt was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Rob Ramage was the second star with 2 assists. And Blaisdell was the third star with a goal and an assist. Flames opened up the scoring in the first. Then in the second period, Glenn Anderson scored short-handed from Gordy Roberts and Rob Ramage. Yeah, Korean, Vietnamese. Yeah, I think I got it wrong. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's very good. It is very good. It's... yeah, the type of meat, usually you can choose what you want in there. And it's broth and rice noodles, green onions, and then you can put a bunch of... It is very good. I recommend that you look around your area if you have a place and go and try it. And then you can tell your old pal ARG if it's good. Because we only have one spot where I live that has pho, and it's okay, but it's far from the best I've ever had. Alright, so 1-1 after 1. Then in the second period, the Flames scored 5 seconds in. Jesus. It was 2-1 Calgary. Then we scored 3 times. Glenn Anderson from Dave Poulin and Anton Stashny. Then Brettel on the power play from Gordy Roberts and Matty Agman. Then Brettel shorthand. Oh, Brettel playing the PK here, folks. You only on ARG's channel. From Rob Ramage and Dave Poulin. It was 4-2 Hartford. Then the Flames scored, made it 4-3 Hartford after 2. We had a fight between Jim Piplinski and Rob Ramage. Then in the third period, Calgary scored twice, and they ran away with the win, a 5-4 loss against the Flames. Wait, what? Instant ramen, you mean like the cheap 10-cent packet that you can buy? So, actually, my fiance makes them pretty good with cheese in them, and she adds like some spices and everything, and I eat that with like peanut butter toast or something, and that's to me that's fine. That's not fine cuisine, obviously, but she prepares them in a way that makes it fairly good with cheese inside of them. But if you just eat them as such, it's not very good. I much prefer the shin noodles. That's what they're called. So they're a little bit more fancy ramens, if you would. So if you haven't heard of those, again, I recommend you look them up. You can buy them at the store. Those are pretty good. All right, Mike Bossy has a memorable game. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Devils. And Ron Duguay back in the lineup for the Rangers. He served his suspension. All right, and then right after losing to the Flames, we are in Edmonton to play the Oilers. Oilers are 48-21-6, and we are 2-0 against Edmonton this season. Are we going to make it 3-0? Oh, you had them yesterday, huh? Yep. Yeah, they're pretty good. They have different flavors, too. I like pretty much all the flavors. Oh, yeah? I do, too. There was a Thai restaurant that was close to where I lived before. That was really good there, too. Steve Weeks is in net for the Whalers. Bob Sauvé is in net for the Oilers. Come on, Whalers, let's bounce back here. We did a 5-2 victory over the Oilers here in Edmonton. Shots were tied 32 apiece. Marian Stastny was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Peter Stastny was the second star with 2 goals. And Darren Veitch was the third star with 2 assists. Oilers scored first in the first period. Then we scored 3 goals in the second. Glenn Anderson scored his 30th from Marian Stastny and Tommy Samuelson. Then Jay Wells from Randy Cunningworth and Marian Stastny. And then Peter Stastny scored his 50th of the season from Marian Stastny and Darren Veitch. 3-1 Hartford after 2. Then in the third period, Ray Neufeld scored from Darren Veitch and Gordy Roberts. Then Peter Stastny scored from Glenn Anderson, made it 5-1. The Oilers did have one more goal in stock. They made it 5-2, but that was it. And then we had a fight between Bob Nystrom and Steve Thomas. And I will say this because I also love Asian foods. ARG makes a very fantastic kung pao chicken. It is delicious and spicy as fudgesicles. Right, we have 2 days off and then we're going to be in Quebec to play against the Nordiques. Daryl Sittler extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had 3 assists against the Bruins. René Robert has a strong game. He had a hat-trick against the Rangers. Jan Eriksson is back from suspension with the Devils. And Bobby Clark extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, 1 more day off. Oh, it's going to be a home and home against the Nordiques. All right, so we are in Quebec to play them. They are 40-28-7. That's good for 4th in the conference. We are 3-2-1 against the Nordiques this season. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for the Whalers. Gilles Meloche in net for the Nordiques. And of course, go Whalers, go. Another win on the road, 6-3. Ooh. So are you gonna do the challenge that I had given you to play with the Panthers, starting when they first got in the league, and you can only have players whose initials start with KT or B? Alright, so we won 6-3 in Quebec. We outshot them 35-22. Steve Thomas was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 3 assists. Brett Hull was the second star with 2 goals and an assist. And Dave Poulin was the third star with 2 assists. Okay. I'm not sure. I suppose you could take over the Colorado Rockies in the 79 season and try to win the cup before they move to New Jersey 4 or 5 years later. That gives you 4 or 5 years to try to win the cup with a very bad team. Alright, so Nordic scored first, then Randy Cunningworth scored from Gordy Roberts and Ray Neufeld. We had a tie game, then Nordic scored 26 seconds later. They took the lead back, then we scored twice. Steve Thomas from Dave Poulin and Brettel, and then Anton Stachny from Marian Stachny and Russ Fitzpatrick. 3-2 Hartford after one. We scored twice in the second. Peter Stachny from Steve Thomas and Glenn Anderson, then Brettel from Rob Ramage and Steve Thomas. 5-2 Hartford after two. Nordics made it 5-3, but Brettel scored his 15th of the season from Dave Poulin and Steve Thomas. We had a 6-3 victory. Alright, Boston's Suter. So Gary Suter is not suspended. Oh, Gary Suter. He's not well rated. Maybe I could trade for him. Memorable game for Brad Park in Boston. He had 4 assists against Montreal. Memorable night for Dino Ciccarelli. He had 4 goals against the Islanders. Daryl Sittler extends his SS streak to 9 games. He had 1 assist against the North Stars in that same game. Bo Berglund feeling better. Alright, and now we are at home to play against the Nordiques. Nordiques are now 40-29-7, still 4th in the conference. Michel Dion in net for them, Steve Weeks in net for us, and of course, come on Waiters, we're at home, we need to win. Thank you, a 12-6 victory. ARG's gonna lose his voice here. Alright, so we outshot Quebec 36-24. Rob Ramage was the first star of the game. He had 4 assists. Dave Poulin was the second star with a goal and 3 assists. And Matty Agman was the third star with a goal and 3 assists as well. 11,275 people in the stands to witness a 12-goal outpower from the Whalers. Alright, so Anton Stachny scored in the first from Russ Fitzpatrick and Glenn Anderson. Then Matty Agman from Marian Stachny and Ken Morrow. Then Glenn Anderson unassisted, 3-0 at that point. Nordics scored, then we added 2 more goals. Peter Stachny from Rob Ramage and Matty Agman. And then Steve Thomas scored his 5th from Dave Poulin and Ken Morrow. 5-1 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, Russ Fitzpatrick scored his 25th on the power play from Matty Agman and Brettel. Then Dave Poulin scored his 35th from Steve Thomas and Rob Ramage. And Greg Teberge scored on the power play from Matty Agman and Gordy Roberts. It was 8-1 Hartford at that point. Nordic scored, then Glenn Anderson scored from Gordy Roberts and Dave Poulin. It was 9-2. Nordic scored 3 goals. It was 9-5. And we added 1 more goal. Russ Fitzpatrick from Rob Ramage and Anton Stachny. It was 10-5. After 2. Then in the third period, the Nordiques scored, made it 10-6, and then we scored 2 more goals. Steve Thomas from Greg Teberge and Dave Poulin, and finally Brettel from Peter Stachny and Rob Ramage, and we had a 12-6 victory over the Nordiques. Ray Neufeld and Tiger Williams got into a scrap as well. Not sure why. The game was kind of out of hand, but okay. Right, passes on point for Rob Ramage. As we saw, he had 4 assists. Daryl Sittler's assist streak ended at 9 games, no points against the Buffalo Sabres. Mats Naslund extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Rangers. Doug Wickenheiser has a good game for the Rangers. He had 3 goals and an assist against the team that actually drafted him in real life. And a return close for Bo Berglund. We have another day off, and then Buffalo is in town. Joe Mullen has a good game with St. Louis. He had a hat trick against Minnesota. And Mark Messier is almost coming back. That'd be great. I'm going to save here. I'm near the end of the month. I don't want to lose all of that progress. That would suck. Alright, Buffalo in town, they are 28-47-2. They are 10th in the conference. We are 5-2 against the Sabres. Jacques Cloutier is going to be in net for Buffalo. Jim Martinson in net for us. And of course, come on, waiters. A 5-3 victory. Alright, so 5-3 win against Buffalo. Buffalo did outshoot us 38-33. Glenn Anderson was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Gilbert Perrault was the second star with 2 assists. And Steve Thomas was the third star with 2 assists as well. 10,113 people in attendance for the game. Dave Poulin opened up the scoring in the first from Marian Stashny and Steve Thomas. Then Buffalo tied the game. It was 1-1 after 1. Then in the second period, Buffalo scored, made it 2-1, and then Glenn Anderson scored twice in 25 seconds. First one from Anton Stashny and Gordy Roberts, second one from Anton Stashny and Darren Veitch, 3-2 Hartford after 2. Then in the third, Peter Stashny scored from Brett Hull and Tommy Samuelson. Then Glenn Anderson scored his 35th from Russ Fitzpatrick and Steve Thomas, 5-2 Hartford. Buffalo scored, it was 5-3, but they didn't have 2 more goals, so we won by 2. Glenn Anderson has a good game, as we saw. Bo Berglund is completely recovered, and Brent Sutter is feeling better. We have a day off, and then we're going to be in Boston to play against the Bruins. A good game for Tim Kerr. He had 3 goals and 2 assists against Pittsburgh. Against Pittsburgh. And a night to remember for Rick Vive in Vancouver. He had 4 goals and an assist against the Winnipeg Jets. Alright, we are in Boston to play the Bruins for the last time of the season. Bruins are 29, 41, and 7. That's good for 9th in the conference. We are now 5-1-1 against the Bruins. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for us. Paul Harrison in net for Boston. Go Waiters, go. A 6-4 victory for the Waiters here. Boston outshot us 34-31. Dave Poulin was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick. Terry O'Reilly was the second star with 2 assists. And Matty Agman was the third star with a goal and an assist. Dave Poulin opened up the scoring in the first from Glenn Anderson and Greg Teberge. Then Boston tied the game, and then Matty Agman scored from Jay Wells and Rob Ramage. It was 2-1 Hartford after 1. We had a fight between Bert Wilson and Darren Veitch. And in the second period, Peter Stashny scored his 55th of the season from Marian Stashny and Greg Teberge. Then Boston scored, and then we scored again. Brett Hull from Greg Teberge and Peter Stashny. 4-2 Hartford after 2. In the third, Boston scored, made it 4-3. Then Dave Poulin scored from Ray Neufeld and Matty Agman. Then Boston came back to within 1. But with 2 seconds left to go in the game, Dave Poulin completed his hat-trick unassisted in an empty net. That was a 6-4 victory. Dave Poulin has a great game. As we saw, he had a hat-trick. Peter Stashny extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and an assist in that game. Passes on point for Paul Gagné with Calgary. He had 4 assists against the Kings. Yeah, it might be. It's just a radio station that plays in the background. And I remember for Steve Shutt in that same game, he had a hat-trick against the Kings. Mark Messier should be back soon. That's great. Brent Sutter should be back soon as well. Awesome. We're starting to get some buddies back for the playoffs. Bill Barber extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Devils. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal against the Devils as well. I don't care about that. All right. Okay, so last game of the month. Rangers are in town. It's going to be a back-to-back against the Rangers. Rangers are 31, 42, and 5. That's good for 8 in the conference. We are 1-0 against the Rangers this season. You mean if I'm going to play it? I might as well. Since there's only one, right? So I can do all the way to the playoffs. All right, Peter Lindmark is going to be in net for the Rangers. Jim Martinson in net for the Waiters. Go Waiters, go. Oh, we lost 5-4. We outshot the Rangers 43-23. Lucien de Blois was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Greg Teberge was the second star with 2 assists. And Ron Duguay was the third star with 2 assists. 9,547 people in attendance for the game. Rangers opened up the scoring in the first. It was 1-0 Rangers. Then he scored twice in the second period. Then Tommy Samuelson scored from Brett Hull and Steve Thomas. It was 3-1. Then the Rangers scored 2 more goals. It was 5-1 after 2. We did score 3 goals in the third period, but that wasn't enough. So Dave Poulin is 40th from Brent Sutter and Glenn Anderson. Then Brett Hull scored on the power play from Gordy Roberts and Greg Teberge. And then Russ Fitzpatrick scored on the power play from Greg Teberge and Gordy Roberts. 5-4. The loss. Jay Wells got hurt, but he can play, so we're not going to worry about it. Memorable game for Ralph Klassen of the Blues. He had 3 goals and an assist against Toronto. The most selling jerseys for the Waiters in the month: Wilf Payment, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, Peter Stastny, and Darren Veitch. Mark Messier almost returned. Development report, okay. Oh, Brett Hull got better at fighting. Yay. Alright, top selling NHL jerseys for March. Ken Linsman, the Rat, is first. And the players of the month are Wayne Gretzky and Pete Peters. Alright, what does it look like? Look at that. Seriously, look at that. This is crazy. We're going to be lucky to not lose in the first round of the playoffs with that lineup so banged up. Alright, so last game of the regular season. I'm going to go ahead and play it since it looks like it's pretty much going to be the end of the season shortly after that. We are at New York Rangers. They are now 32-42-5, and we are now 1-1 against them. Steve Weeks and Peter Lindmark in net for... we can look at that after we're done. Go Waiters, go. And we lost 5-4 in overtime. No point for a loss in overtime in 1984, folks. So that's 2 straight 5-4 losses heading into the playoffs. We outshot the Rangers 41-29. McCarthy was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Matty Agman was the second star with 2 goals. And Ron Duguay, third star with 2 assists. Steve Thomas opened up the scoring in the first from Ray Neufeld. Then Matty Agman from Brett Hull and Peter Stastny. 2-0 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, Rangers scored. Then Matty Agman scored his 30th from Gordy Roberts and Brent Sutter. Then Gordy Roberts scored on a power play from Russ Fitzpatrick and Greg Teberge. 4-1, Rangers scored, made it 4-2. And then a bunch of penalties, but no fighting. And then in the third period, the Rangers scored twice to tie the game. We went over... Oh, there was a fight between Mark Hunter and Jay Wells. Then finally we went to overtime where Louis Slegger played the hero by scoring. And we lost 5-4. Gordy Roberts converts back to left defense. Alright, that's good. Not everybody played. Let's click continue. And now everybody played 80 games, so we can take a look. Tim Kerr extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal against Washington. All right. The owner says exactly all of the same stuff, and Mark Messier is ready to come back. Now that's good news. Finally, a bit of good news. All right. So we still have a lot of injuries. So, but are we the best team in the league? We are not. The Edmonton Oilers finished the season with 110 points. We are the second best team in the league. So that's nothing to sneeze at. Alright, so let's see who is missing the playoffs. So Buffalo is not in. Pittsburgh and New York Rangers are not going to be in. Oh. What's the tiebreaker? Because the Rangers scored more goals. Now in 84, on top of my head, I don't know what the tiebreaker is. But it looks like the Rangers are missing the playoffs and the Devils are going to be in. Is it the goal difference, maybe? I don't know. Then the Chicago Blackhawks are not going to be in the playoffs, and the Kings, oh, what an abysmal season for the Kings. This is close to first Ottawa Senators season mediocrity, where they only won 10 games. That's close to that. 14 wins on the season for the poor Kings. Alright, so we're going to take a look at our stats, or what we can make of them with all the injuries and everything. Alright, so we had 100-point player, that was Peter Stastny, 112 points. Dave Poulin was pretty good, 91 and 80. Glenn Anderson, 76 and 73. Matty Agman, 76 and 80. Gordy Roberts, 65 and 73. He kind of picked up after Paul Coffey got destroyed. Then Brent Sutter did pretty good. Anton Stastny. Mark Messier was doing good until he got hurt. So pretty much everybody did pretty good. Well, until you go down further the list, of course. Then in the entire league, we have Wayne Gretzky as the best goal scorer with 76 goals. Dino Ciccarelli just behind him with 72. Best passer was Denis Savard, 98 assists for Denis Savard, and the most points was Wayne Gretzky with 165, followed by Ciccarelli at 151, Savard 132, Bossy and Nilsson at 122, Tim Kerr 114, Middleton 114, Peter Stastny is 8 with 112, and then it goes down from here. We are destroying the league for the plus minuses. A lot of our guys are there. Alright, so Martinson had 36 wins. That's pretty good. And Martinson was second for the goals against average, 2.87. That's pretty good. The save percentage, Martinson was 8 at 894. It's not too shabby. Alright, so I guess I can sim until we see the playoff matchups so that we know. Alright, those guys are feeling more comfortable, and Brent Sutter almost 100%. I could always use a LT Brent Sutter for the playoffs. Reg Thomas and Tom Rolston have been put on waivers. Alright, so the nominees for the Art Trophy, we have Denis Savard, Dino Ciccarelli, and Wayne Gretzky. For the Vizina, we have Andy Moog, Mike Liut, and Pete Peters. For the Norris, we have Doug Wilson, Gordy Roberts, and Mark Howe. Oh, I think Mark Howe is going to win that. For the Calder, we have Greg Stefan, Phil Housley, and Ron Sutter. GM of the Year, Cliff Fletcher, Emil Francis, and Ted Lindsay. The Selkie, Dave Hunter, Doug Jarvis, and Gaetan Duchesne. Lady Bing between Blair McDonald, Claude Larose, and Kent Nilsson. Mark Messier Leadership Award between Lanny McDonald, Maurice Lukovic, and Wayne Gretzky. Ted Lindsay between Denis Savard, Zino Cicerelli, and Wayne Gretzky. Jack Adams between Barclay Plager, Bobby Crum, and Claire Drake. Brent Sutter is currently recovered, and Jay Wells is also starting to feel better. Alright, we still don't have our playoff 3. We should have it now. And Jay Wells is completely recovered. Alright, so we're going to play the Bruins in the first round. And let's see the other matchups. Although I could have told you because it's easy. Yeah, the small rink Bruins for sure. Alright, so we're playing Boston, the big rivalry, Montreal, Quebec for the other series, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Washington, New York Islanders, Toronto's going to play Minnesota, Detroit plays St. Louis, Winnipeg plays Edmonton, and Calgary plays Vancouver. Alright, so all the Canadian teams are there. Is it a Canadian team that's going to win the cup? I hope not, because I hope it's me. Alright. Oh, it's easy. Okay, I'm going to show you how. It's super easy. So back in the 80s, it was all by division, right? So you look at every division, and one plays 4 and 2 plays 3 in every single division. So we play Boston, Montreal, and Quebec play against each other. Flyers play the Devils, Islanders play the Capitals, Minnesota plays Toronto, St. Louis plays Detroit, Edmonton plays Winnipeg, and Vancouver plays Calgary. So that's how it's done. So after that, my series against the Bruins, if I win, I'm going to play the winner between Quebec and Montreal. So the format was super easy to understand back then. That's how it worked. Kind of, yeah. Alright, so that's going to be it for ARG today. Today's has been feeling like a long day for some reason, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. But we are right in place to play the playoffs next time out. So, as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in, especially Kel keeping me company here. We got to talk about fast food and among other things. You too, Kel, you take it easy. Now, if you're catching this on YouTube later, you like the video, you know what to do. But for now, ARG out. So peace out, folks, and I'll see you all later.